I am sitting here and I can't help it but think that I'm tired of working. I have always worked through my pregnancies, through everything. Always paid the majority of the bills. Now I'm like, I don't want to be this strong, independent woman. I don't. I am not interested. I have a huge house. I pay all the bills by myself. Now I just want the universe to bring me the man that can make me a housewife. I've done it and I'm not interested anymore. I want to be a housewife. I want to have your dinner ready when you get home. I want to take your shoes off, give you a massage. I want to sex you down when you get home. I want somebody to push me back to the 70s. I am not interested in this. I don't want to work anymore. I want to be a housewife. So universe, send me that boss man.
Here we have a woman who has realized what many women realize after a certain age and after spending their 20s chasing bad boys and money. She talks about how she's done trying to be independent. She says she's always worked even through her pregnancies and everything else that life has thrown at her. And now she has realized that she doesn't want to be this strong, independent woman. She's done paying all of the bills of the house by herself. Now she just wants a man who can be with her so she can be a stereotypical housewife, because that's what she thinks she should have done all along. She's just not into the whole career-driven corporate machine thing anymore. She then talks to her imaginary man and says that she will have his dinner ready when he gets home. She will take his shoes off, give him a massage, and then give him all the intimate pleasure that he wants with her. If you scroll and browse through social media, you will see increasing numbers of women saying the same thing. And this is something that we've been telling you guys for quite a while now. There will come a time when women will realize that they're just not biologically, psychologically, and physiologically wired to live like men as providers and as hunters, which is something feminism has had them pursuing since the third and fourth waves. Feminism has really made things go worse for women. They thought they were being liberated and empowered to live independent lives where they need no men. However, they realized that they were being sold a lie, and they were only being taught to hate men, and the entire concept of marriage, and being aligned with their own feminine selves. Women regret feminism in the sense that it took them to another level, and totally away from what a woman is supposed to be according to the universal laws of nature. A woman is supposed to be a caregiver, a nurturer, and someone who can raise families. There's a reason why it's women who have the biological power to give birth, and not men. But when women go against their own nature for too long, it begins to disturb them. It begins to make them realize that they are wasting their time doing things that men are supposed to do and avoiding the things that they should be doing. Men don't go about trying to raise children and become feminine to care for children. They're perfectly happy being who they are and doing what they're supposed to do, to be providers and protectors. They don't try to become women or take on the responsibilities of a woman. A woman wanting to be the provider is like a man complaining about his inability to give birth to a child. So while feminism did bring a lot of growth for women and empowered them to pursue better and more independent lives, feminism failed to draw a boundary between the level of independence and freedom of being. It made women want to become men and eventually despise men for being masculine. Yes, feminism hates masculinity. That's the real truth. Also, if you go through social media today, you'll see tons of videos from women who are hitting the wall and realizing how wrong they were to not start their families early on and settle down. They're complaining about how men are not giving them the attention and validation that they used to, and instead are choosing younger women to start families with. All in all, feminism couldn't liberate women like it set out to, because liberation isn't financial freedom. It's making women feel comfortable in being who they are and being comfortable showing their feminine side. Men are and always have been providers, and they thrive when they're protecting and providing for women. It gives them purpose. Similarly, for women, Their real purpose isn't being CEOs of organizations or becoming board members of large public companies. It's being female. Over time, what happened was that more and more women chased their corporate dreams, thought that they could take over men's roles in society, and practically waste away their fertile and prime years in either pursuing a career or chasing the stereotypical bad boys. But soon enough, when these women got to their 30s and above, they started realizing that with every passing year, it was becoming harder and harder for them to become pregnant. And so started their change in mindset and realization that life wasn't just about becoming wealthy or believing in the extreme forms of feminism that make these women think they can live their lives without men or without having families and adhering to their natural feminine tendencies. What started off as a quest for equality is now a quest for superiority. Modern feminist women say they want equality, but they only want it on their terms, which includes domination over men. Women want selective equality. They don't want true equality. They want the same salary that a man has for a particular position without having to work for it as much as that man. Women want a place in the boardroom, but they don't want to sit past 6 p.m. because they've got to go to their spa appointment. Women only reveal their anti-male woke nature when they do things because it shows they just want to ride the wave of success without having to actually work for it. They compare themselves with high-quality men who literally sacrifice their entire lives and live in incredibly competitive environments just so they can get to those positions. It's pretty clear that women feel incredibly entitled to everything, and what makes them entitled is the fact that they've never had to provide for other people on a larger scale. They've never had to work for anything, and they've always been spoiled by the men in their lives. Yes, there are many women who don't fall in this category and are actually self-made, but that's a very small minority that feminism seems to glamorize a little too much. Modern feminism has robbed women of their meaning and purpose and given them a new purpose that is only making women more and more miserable. You only have to go and see the women around your society or online today to know what I mean. Women are miserable because of feminism. They think they're part of some positive movement that liberates them of their worries when in fact, it only steals their value from them. I was recently reading a study that said women who enter marriage as virgins are now a rarity and are the least likely to divorce. Women with 10 or more partners are the most likely to divorce. But this only became true in recent years, the study said. This only goes to show that the more women sleep around, the more they're likely to lose any sense of loyalty and future stability when it comes to relationships. On top of that, no man truly wants to be with a woman who has a high body count. Listen, I'm all for the right of women to vote, work, earn, and pursue their careers. I'm all for women being able to live independent lives. But I'm not for a society where women are taught to hate men, or that their life's purpose is to ignore their own responsibility to society, being feminine and being happily invested in raising their families. I'm not at all for women who feel as though they need to sleep around with 30-plus men in their 20s just so they can get back at men, or the 1% of men who they heard did that to women in the past. There are men who still act irresponsibly or do not do justice to their gender, but that doesn't mean women have to do that too. And this is why we have more and more women, just like the woman who you saw at the beginning of this video, coming to terms with the fact that there's no meaning for them with the level of independence that feminism has sold them. They're happier when they're true to their nature as caregivers and providers of love, warmth, and comfort to their families. They're happier when they're actually dependent on a man who can provide them with resources and comforts of life, allowing them room to care for and nurture the family. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Let's discuss this in the comments. Thanks for watching The Circle of Kings. Show us your love and support by liking and subscribing to the channel.